Hi everybody, this is Demari and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I'm going to be doing the first set of shadow work readings for mid to late September, and this one's for the sign of Libra. So as you know, we had a really powerful full moon in Pisces yesterday, and that was pretty intense, I would say, for most people. So yeah, this is the perfect time to really do this kind of work. As you know, around the time of the full moon, a lot of things comes up to the surface. Certain things get revealed to us in order to process and heal the things that are no longer serving our purpose, past traumas, and also to be aware of factors that may be at play in the background so that we can move things in a more positive direction. So just to let you know, to begin with, I'll be pulling 2 cards from the Dark Mirror Oracle deck. And then I'll be using the Wild Unknown Tarot to flesh out the reading and then clarify with the intuitive if needed. So let's get stuck in then and see what needs to be revealed to you at this time, Libra. So the Dark Mirror is really good for terms of shadow work because, you know, things that are often lurking beneath the surface, particularly in regards to our own actions, thoughts, emotions and behaviours. It really shines a light on that so you can see objectively what it is that you are being guided by, manipulated by, or you're projecting. Okay, so the more negative aspects that the shadow brings to our awareness. Okay, so what is it that you need to be aware of at this time, Libra? And as I said, this is for mid to late September, okay? I'll be doing one every mid-month, so you really have the opportunity to continue the work, okay? So let's have a look. Okay, you got revenge. So that's in relation to either a set of circumstances or a particular circumstance that brought you to the point of no return, okay? That's when you've literally invoked the energy of wrath, okay? That's the mindset you're in, which is very much an anger-based stage of the grieving process, because this is obviously what the Dark Mirror deals with. It deals with the different stages of grieving and the associated moon stages, phases that correlate with that. So this is very much the anger phase, and what it's communicating here is that you've reached a point of no return, where you see how she's holding the 2 swords, kind of like the 2 of swords. It's as if you've, rather than making the decision of whether to stay or go, or whether to choose one way or another, you're taking both swords and you're just going to take everyone's head. It's literally like, this is the energy of wrath, okay? You're literally taking both swords and you're holding the world to ransom. That's the energy you're invoking, that you've been broken down and you've been hurt to the point where you're ready to just hold the world at ransom. You're ready to just hold everyone accountable for their actions, for their words, for their mistreatment of you and others. It is literally, you're invoking that vengeance energy right now. That's the energy you're currently sat at. Even if that sounds a bit strong, it can be that you're feeling that in regards to a specific person or situation, that it's bringing out this energy in you, even though you may not feel like you're embodying that the whole time, like throughout the day. At least where this circumstance is concerned, this is the energy that's being provoked in you. You see how her wings as well are like bare branches, right? There's no feathers, there's nothing like that of any sort. It is bare branches, you know, as if she's fallen from grace, right? And that's very much the energy. It's like self-sacrificing, willing to forsake oneself in order to get the well-deserved revenge, vengeance, bring justice. And that's obviously a very dangerous energy to invoke and sit in, because obviously when you invoke that kind of energy and your main objective is to bring some kind of balance through vengeance, you end up hurting yourself and others who don't deserve it, right? It's like everyone gets caught in the fire. No one is spared. And that's what makes it so dangerous and so toxic, because it just burns everything. Everything that comes in its path is destroyed, okay? So just to give you a bit of information as to what that card represents. So what else is going on for you, Libra? Because there's never just one thing. I always pull at least 2 cards, usually 2, so we can get a better picture of where you're currently at with things. So what else has got Libra? What else is going on for Libra right now? Sorry, my mind is kind of like all over the place. I'm telling you, I'm really feeling the effects of this full moon. It's very positive, but at the same time, it's kind of like there's so much to process right now. So sorry if I sound a bit all over the place. I'm trying to clarify my thoughts a little better. Okay. Alright, so you got blinded to pain. Okay. So what this card represents is it is masochistic, right? It is a masochistic type of energy. It's where you've been hurt so much that you kind of adapt to that pain, to the point where you just accept things as they are, right? You just accept them for what they are, and you continue to stay in that state where you suffer. And sometimes needlessly as well, often needlessly, because if you were, if you were willing to take that blindfold off, to peel those flies off of your wounds, right? To patch yourself up and walk away from the situation, then you can end up in a very different state, potentially even in a very short amount of time. I mean, there's obviously going to be healing to do, right? Those wounds are going to take time to heal, and they may even leave scars, but you will not be suffering the same pain over and over. The wounds will not get worse. They will not fester, right? They'll have the opportunity to heal. And this is what this card represents, that you're denying yourself the opportunity to heal and move into a better circumstance, because for whatever reason you feel that you're almost deserving of this pain, right? That you're, in some ways, that you're deserving of whatever negativity you find yourself being, affected by at this time. It could be a circumstance, like a specific set of circumstances that have happened around you. It could be in relation to an individual that you're dealing with, like a toxic relationship, toxic friendship, toxic family member. It could be even just, a really toxic boss at work or co-worker. It can be so many things, right? So you have to just take it as it applies, because your situation is going to be very different to someone else's. But that's what's being communicated here, that you are, even though you know that this situation is unjust, right? That you know that, you're not deserving really of this ill treatment. You're still allowing yourself to feel the pain. And because of that, because you're still in that circumstance, because you're still feeling, the intensity of it, that's what's moving you into this state of revenge, right? Or it can even be vice versa. It could be because you've kind of taken on this energy, and maybe you did something inappropriate, or you did something where multiple people got hurt, some people that really weren't deserving of it. You now feel like, because you've forsaken yourself, because you chose that path, right? You took both swords and you went forward. You now have to suffer the consequences of that choice, right? So take it as it applies. It can go either way. That's if it does apply to your situation, of course. Don't force it. It's a general reading. Most of you are already aware, so I don't have to really tell you that. But still, only apply this in the way it does apply, if it does, okay? But that's what I'm getting from this so far. That either you're about to embark on a rampage that's going to have very, very strong consequences. You know, there's going to be some very clear consequences, some of which you will not be able to undo. You know, once you go down that path, there is no going back. But some of you have already done something, and you're now holding yourself at ransom for those actions. You got the vengeance you were seeking, and now you're, because you know other people got hurt in the process, you are now holding yourself to the same justice, right? You're trying to pay for those actions in some way. Okay, so let's have a look then. So where were you at? I want to look firstly at where you're at currently. So what's been going on this week, especially with the full moon. Obviously, if you haven't seen my full moon readings, do check them out. As we are still in the weekend, the energies are still going to be relevant and prominent, and it will give you a better insight as to how maybe that situation can apply. Okay, if it does apply. But have a look at the readings anyway to see how this may correlate to this message. Okay, so let's have a look then in regards to this week, where we're just coming out of. Okay, so maybe I need to give myself a little bit more space. Alright then. So, I will show you these cards, don't worry, because I know they're a little bit far away. You may not be able to see them too clearly. So, you got the World card upside down, so the World card in reverse. And what that's communicating is that you may be in a state of retreat, you know, after, you know, going out and doing these things, or having this communication with someone or several people. You may be in a state of needing to retreat, or feeling like the world is no longer a place for you, that you don't have a place in the world anymore because of these circumstances that have come about, this action, this confrontation, argument, whatever it was, whatever happened, you're now retreating from everyone else and everything else, right? I feel like you're kind of forsaking it, like you're just walking away from everything pretty much. Particularly at the start of this week we've just had, right? I feel like you just kind of had this moment and you walked away from things. Then you had the Judgment in reverse. So I feel like maybe this is in relation to a karmic relationship that you've had to kind of purge, and you just had to say things that you wouldn't normally say, right? You just had to speak your mind, you just had to share how you felt, because there was things that were just being kept under the surface for way too long and you just couldn't contain it anymore. You had to express how you felt, and that may have caused a massive ripple in the relationship. It could be with friends, family. It's not necessarily a romantic relationship. Just take it as it applies if it does. But either way, I feel like you just had a purging moment. You just had to express yourself, right? And it made you feel free. It made you feel like even though you're suffering, there's a lot of pain there. It freed you from feeling like you're trapped in a circumstance and, you know, not being able to express how you truly feel about it because you're too worried about this, that, and the other and how it will affect whoever, right? But you kind of just gave that up and said your piece anyway because you felt enough is enough. I have to speak my mind. I have to communicate this because I just can't do this anymore, right? So then you've got the Eight of Swords in reverse. So this is currently the energy you're in right now. So I feel like you kind of really did retreat. You know, you had this communication, you had this reaction. It might be an explosive display of emotion, but whatever it was, you came away from that. you retreated because you needed to really just kind of recalibrate and figure out where you go from here, because you know once something's done, it's done, and you can't undo what was done. You can't undo what was communicated, what you said. It's too late for that now. It's already, what's done is done, and now you're just kind of picking up the pieces and trying to figure out where you go from here, right? I think that's where you're at right now. You're just trying to assess, where do I go from here? Because I can't do what's already done. And even though I think there were some people involved that got hurt, and you regret that they got hurt, I think you still generally feel like you had to say it though. You still had to do what you had to do. And you're willing to suffer the consequences of that. You made that choice, right? Like I said, she picked up both swords. She's willing to take whatever consequence comes with that. And I feel like that's what you did. But now you're wanting to move forward, you know. While you feel like you're paying the price and you're accepting that, you want to move forward in some way. You want to just move on from the situation. I wouldn't be surprised if some of you end up traveling. If you end up going somewhere completely just way off from where you are and just starting anew. Maybe not even telling, you know, a lot of people that you're going, you're just going to go. That's just how I feel with this energy, of this reading, especially with the World card in reverse up the top there. I think maybe now you are considering actually leaving. Okay, so what have you got for this coming week? Okay. So you got the Nine of Pentacles. Strength card. And the Tower in reverse. So yeah, I feel like, Libra, going into the beginning of next week, you're going to see here that what is done. You're not going to try and do anything else in relation to that. You're not going to try and fix anything. It needed to happen. It was cathartic, and that you're ready to move on. You want to manifest a new set of circumstances into your life, okay? You want to let it all go, pretty much, everything, and just start completely anew. You're ready for the 10, yeah? That's what I feel like. You're stepping to that energy of, I'm ready for the 10, I'm done, I want something more, right? And then you're going into the midweek, you have the Strength card. So you know it's going to be hard. You know there's many challenges that you'll have to face in this time. It's particularly as you step out of this circumstance, as you're moving away from it. You know there's going to be some repercussions. You know you're going to have to deal with those consequences. You know there's going to be a fallout with certain people. They may try and communicate their anger to you. But either way, you feel like you're in a state where you can take that, okay? You can deal with whatever consequences come your way, because, you know, in your mind, you've already been hurt so much. There is nothing anyone else can do at this point, right? There's nothing anyone else can do to bring you lower than you've already felt. So, you know, you're pretty prepared. I feel like you're pretty prepared for anything at this point. So, yeah, midweek next week, you're going to see some of the fallout, I feel. I think you will see some of the fallout. And as a result, you know, you're going to be calling upon that inner strength to, you know, just deal with it and not allow yourself to be, you know, swayed in a different direction or made to feel bad because, you know, you've already accepted the consequence of these actions and you felt like that was the right thing at the time. So in the position of the latter end of the week, you have the Tower card in reverse. So I think, yeah, you already know that the damage is done, right? This is what this is communicating here. The damage has already been done. So now where do you go from here, okay? You can begin to build anew, right? Now that the tower's fallen, you can begin to think about the building of a new structure, of new foundations, right? You've already laid waste to the old, so it's time to to move away from that. Let the rubble settle and think of where you're headed next, okay? So let's have a look then in regards to the next week, the week after this. So this will be like the final week of September, okay? Okay, so we have the Eight of Wands, the Son of Pentacles in reverse, and the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. So going into the beginning of that final week, you're going to realize that your feelings of not being in control of your own life is coming to an end. That you have to make a decision as to where you go from here. No one can do that for you. There are multiple ways in which you can approach this. Some will be better in your better interest than others, but it's up to you to use your discernment and your, inner wisdom to really consider what is going to be the best solution for you at this stage, okay? So that's what this is going to be. This is going to be very prominent for that final week. You're going to be thinking about your options and where to go from here, okay? So then in the middle of the week, you have the Son of Pentacles in reverse. So you're really going to be thinking about what it is that you want to manifest, but before you do that, you're going to be looking back on everything that's happened in regards to that circumstance, all the things that have happened in your life even up until this point, and you're really going to assess what caused you this pain, what made you so unhappy to the point of, having this huge fallout, right? And this big, revelation that you shared with others, or this big confrontation, this big explosion of emotion, just laying waste to your old life so that you can rebuild anew, right? So you're going to be looking at those things and you're going to decide what it is that you actually want in your life. What is it that you want to resonate with? What's going to be of the best interest for you, right? In your best interest. And I feel like as you're looking back on those things, you're going to feel sadness, you're going to feel loss in some ways because you had to let pretty much everything go. But, like I said, you knew what was going to be the consequence and you accepted them fully. So I don't feel like you're going to be trying to retract anything or go back. I just think you're just looking back on things and trying to look at it objectively so you can then decide what it is that you want moving forward. So there's going to be some introspection going on, essentially. And then at the weekend, you have the Wheel of Fortune. So in reverse as well. Sorry. So yeah, I feel like there's many pathways, right, to reach any destination. There's multiple pathways, and right now, because you've already started a chain reaction, you're in some ways going to have to navigate through new territory, okay? There's going to be certain things about this path that you're on that you're not familiar with, that you're not going to necessarily know the way forward, okay? There may be some circumstances you find yourself in that you didn't anticipate. There's going to be some things that come to your awareness that you didn't realize before. There's going to be a lot of changes, so you're having to navigate the labyrinth and hope that you leads to calmer waters. But it's important to know that while you might not have the awareness of all the circumstances you'll find yourself in, while you may be feeling hesitant and anxious because it's a completely new life that you're stepping into, you are prepared. You're already prepared for this journey. You have everything you need in order to move forward. You're well equipped at this stage, okay? And that was part of this cathartic tower moment that happened in your life. You had to lose quite a lot so you could gain potentially everything, okay? It's kind of like that. It's often like that when you have there's this pivotal moment in your life where everything seems to go to waste, right? Everything seems to have just broken down. But what it's actually doing is it's preparing you for something completely different. Your whole life is about to change. So that's when you need to realize that you're stepping into that territory, you know, unknown territory. And while you're going to be on shaky ground and, you know, you're just coming out of this catharsis, there is potentially going to be a much more positive outcome that you hadn't accounted for, right? That actually it can lead to potentially something very positive, depending on a number of circumstances and how you react to these changes, right? So I'm just going to clarify the World card firstly. So what happened earlier this week? Because something was communicated, I feel. Yes, you got the Four of Swords in reverse. So definitely did not sit in complacency anymore. You communicated something that had a huge effect on either someone or some set of circumstances in your life. Let's see if we can find out a bit more. But something was definitely shared. Yeah. You got the Ace of Wands. So you were not content with your life. It was not serving you. And you communicated what you truly want and what you're not going to stand for anymore. You knew what you was trying to manifest. You know what it is that you want in your life. So you communicated that this was not it. And you were done with it, basically. So what about the Judgment card then? Where you've just come away from. Okay, Ace of Cups. Okay, so this could be that you've walked away from a marriage. It could be that you walked away from your family. There'll be something prominent on that level. I feel like you made a decision to walk away from either one or several of the most important people in your life today, right? Because you were very unhappy. It was a toxic situation. It wasn't serving your highest good. And you felt like they were keeping you locked in place. You were trapped, right? That you couldn't communicate for all these days, months, weeks, years, how it is you really felt. And you feel like you weren't being heard. So that's why this kind of explosive revelation came out, right? Because it was just at that point of no return where it had to come out in some way. Yeah, because we've got the Three of Wands and the Four of Wands in reverse. So I feel like for some of you this is definitely the end of a marriage with that Four of Wands in reverse there. With the Three of Wands in the upright, you're looking forward. You're looking for the things that actually bring you the fulfillment that you don't feel like you've had, right? So not only are you walking away, but you are looking forward, even at this stage. Because you know what you want, right? You've got the Ace of Wands there. You know what you want. And this ain't it. So, yeah, you just literally said, right, I'm jumping ship. I'm sorry, but this is not happening. Bye, right? So, yeah, I feel like for some of you, you walked away from either a long-term relationship or a marriage. So just take it how it applies. But it could be family even. But you walked away from someone very prominent in your life. So this caused a massive reaction, okay? So let's have a look in terms of the Eight of Swords in reverse then. Okay, Five of Pentacles in reverse. So with this Five of Pentacles, you know, I feel like the person feels abandoned. And, you know, they're probably quite angry with you at this time because, you know, you're not considering their feelings or what their wishes are in regards to this circumstance. But I feel like in the past, while that would have stopped you and that would have upset you and prevented you from taking action, you're at that point where you just can't anymore. Even if you do care how this person feels about the circumstance, you just can't do it anymore. So you made the choice to walk away regardless. Something that you wouldn't have necessarily done before, right? Or some of you won't even care at this point because you're so hurt, right? The pain is so strong that you've endured from this toxic relationship, or, you know, just the misery that it's brought from being unfulfilled, that you're past that point of feeling anything for this person anymore, that you just want to be gone, right? You just want to leave it. So just take it however it resonates, yeah? Okay, and anything else in relation to this? Yeah, we got the Seven of Wands in reverse, so it just wasn't going anywhere. It wasn't getting you anywhere. You know, nothing positive could come from this circumstance, and you recognize that there was no way of bridging that gap, right? There was no way that that reconciliation could take place, that you were just operating from completely different levels, that you were trying to communicate from different levels. There was no meeting of mutual minds, right, or hearts. You were operating on very different levels. So that's why you know that it just can't go anywhere from here. There's nothing that can be done in relation to that, not if you want to, you know, change things for the better. So that's why you kind of had this moment and then decided to walk away and kind of seal yourself up from the rest of the world for a little time, because it's just not going to work, essentially. Okay, so what about next week? All right, so from Monday to, say, Wednesday. Let's clarify that Nine of Pentacles. Okay, you got the Queen of Cups in reverse. So yeah, this is your energy at this point in time. You are emotionally depleted. You are not only depleted and unfulfilled, but I think you're struggling with your emotions right now. I feel like you feel more numbness than anything. That because you're in that wrath energy, I think the only emotion you can truly identify with at this point is rage, anger, maybe some upset, but mostly anger, I feel. And that's why you're just ready for this new beginning. You don't want to feel like this anymore. You don't want this situation anymore. You just want a whole new beginning. You got the Chariot as well. So you're definitely ready to move ahead, right? By Monday next week, you're already going to be making plans, considering options, because you're done. You're ready to move forward. This is also the card of Cancer. So it could be that, you know, you've got Cancer in your chart, or you're moving away from a Cancer. You know, it could be a partner or a family member. Or just the fact that you are literally ready to move forward. You know, you've got this kind of determined focus, right, to come away from this situation as quickly and effectively as possible, okay? Without any loose ends, or with as little ties and loose ends as possible, right? So what about the Strength card going into the midweek? Okay. So you have the Star in reverse. This could also be you dealing with an Aquarius, but not potentially. It could just be the fact that, you know, people are trying to come back in, as I said, and you know you're going to have maybe some confrontation, or someone's going to communicate how they felt from what happened in this circumstance. And this is you just basically saying, well, this doesn't fulfill me, I'm sorry. You know, I'm going after what I want in life. I'm going after my dreams, my aspirations. I'm putting myself forward first, okay? I need to take care of myself. I need to think about what I want my life to look like. And I can't account for everybody else's wishes all the time. So it's time to account for my own. Okay, what else? Oh gosh, everything's flying at me. Ugh. Too much going on here, too much, Libra. Okay, what else is going on for you? Okay, so I got 2 cards at the same time. You got the 10 of Wands in reverse and the Queen of Pentacles in reverse. So I think you're willing at this point to cut your losses, right? You're willing to take a financial hit if it means that you can start again and have a whole new life, right? That's what I feel like is being communicated here. That you're ready to embark on your whole new life where your main focus is your own well-being, your own passions, your own interests, you know, completely rebuilding from scratch. And you're quite happy to take the hit, right? Even though, yes, it will sting and there may be some, you know, repercussions for some time, you're willing to do that. You're willing to take the loss if it means that you can have this new beginning, okay? So it may be that you're having to look at your financial circumstances, where it leaves you, if there's any outstanding debts or, you know, for obviously if you are going through a divorce, you're probably looking at the legal proceedings and where that's gonna leave you, and you know what you're actually going to have financially as a result. And I got the Page of Wands come up as well. So yeah, you're really ready to just begin, right? To just start this new journey. And you're willing to start from the beginning if you have to financially, and or potentially even start a whole new career. And you may know that in order to do it, you have to study a new subject. You may have to go into an entry-level job or do internship, but you're willing to do that if it means that you can actually start to live more authentically, start to do something you truly care about, right? Rather than just what's brought you most money. Yeah. You're seeing things from an entirely new perspective. Because you know what your soul is calling, right? You know that this didn't fulfill you, so you have a whole new perspective on things. Okay, and I feel like as much as that belongs here too, that belongs with the Tower also. Because you're rebuilding, you're starting anew with that Tower in reverse, right? You've already had the destruction, so now you're looking to rebuild. With this new fresh pair of eyes that you have, right? This new perception that you have. Okay. And anything else then in regards to the Tower for next weekend? Okay. So you also have, 3 cards, okay. So you have the Wheel of Fortune in reverse. There's the Knight of Spades, the Knight of Spades, which is also the Knight of Swords, sorry, because it's espadas, which is obviously Spanish, and then you have the Page of Pentacles in reverse, okay? So, yeah, I just feel like you're aware that a lot of changes are coming. Some of them are going to have, because of the way in which you've gone about this situation, it's going to be quite difficult in some ways. You're not going to see eye to eye with the people that you used to necessarily. You're not going to be able to communicate with certain people anymore. And as I said, you are going to take, I feel like you know that you're going to have to take a financial loss, but you'll look for ways in which you can rebuild your life, and the thing in a way that actually is aligned to your vision of how you want it to be. I feel like you know that it's going to take time, that you can't rush it. There's a lot to consider and take care of, but I think you're willing to put the work in. I think you're willing to, you know, take it step by step and, you know, do things methodically and rationally so that you can rebuild your life from scratch, right? And if you do approach it that way, I think things will actually move positively for you, okay? So let's have a look then finally in the last week. Okay, you have the Knight of Cups and the 3 of Cups in reverse. So yeah, you're making a decision. You're trying to assess where to go from here because you know that you're not in that position of being stuck in place anymore. But you're having to assess your options. and you know that right now being around people is probably not the best thing for you, because you have a lot of inner work to do, a lot of healing. So being around certain people is not going to help you in that way, though there will be some people that you need to call on for support, even if you don't feel like it, because you're going through a really you're going through quite a hard one at this point. It's quite a rough time for you. So you're going to need to call on that support even if you don't feel like it. But yeah, going out partying, doing that sort of thing is not going to be in your best interest. I feel like this very much represents that support network that you have. There is someone, or potentially a group of people that can give you that support. So don't be afraid to call on that person, because they are going to be willing to help you through this time, and they'll understand where you're coming from, right? There won't be that same level of judgment that you received maybe from someone else, okay? Or other people that are connected to this situation, okay? In whatever way and to whatever extent. Yeah. So in the place of the midweek with the Son of Pentacles, you've got the Ten of Pentacles in reverse. So that's why you're looking back. You're looking back so you can work out exactly what it is, so you know how to move forward and begin this new chapter. You can't really do that without really having an idea of how you want your life to be, right? And what matters to you, what you want in your life, who you want in your life, where you want your life to be, what you want to be doing, right? The energy you step into, how you're going to present yourself from now on, okay? These are all the things that you're assessing so you can have this new beginning. So that's why it's really important that you do that at this time before you make take any real steps towards something, okay? You need to have that moment of introspection. And don't be afraid to call on for some help, if you are very spiritually inclined or religious, whatever you feel your counsel comes from on the metaphysical level, don't be afraid to reach out. For some of you, you're going to have to see a marriage counsellor. Maybe that's going to be a part of the terms of your divorce, that you have to go through marriage counselling first before you're granted the divorce. So just be prepared for that you may have to actually deal with this person a little longer before you get that clean break, okay? But that's only going to be for, obviously, specific people. But for others of you, you're just going to have to really connect with your higher self and with, the source, because that's going to give you the strength that you need to look back and assess and move forward, okay? And then finally, with the Wheel of Fortune, towards the end of the month. Okay. So you have the Queen of Wands in the upright, the Ten of Cups, and the Page of Wands. Okay, so that's great. That's showing you that, there is possibilities. Yes, you're going to have to take a new approach to it. You're going to have to be really calling upon your use your affirmations, right? Set your intentions, make it clear and known so you can begin this journey towards the things you truly care about, towards the life that you truly want. Okay, you're going to have to start to walk in, you're going to have to step into this energy so you can arrive here, is what is being told, okay? You have to approach it like the Knight of Wands, right? That you're determined, that you're passionate, that you're going to go after what you want, okay? Because you have opportunities, right? There are many different pathways to achieve that, but you need to have the right mindset and attitude in order to do that. And, take it in your stride, approach it as if it's a whole new thing for you, like you're, literally starting again, but as if you're doing it for the first time, right? So that you can get to this place, which I feel like, because this has come out here, it's showing you that this is possible, right? This is obtainable. To be in this position where you're grounded, you know what it is that you're manifesting, the life that you're creating, that you're embodying, the very energy and the person that you wish to be, okay? But it's a process. It takes time to get there, so you have to get into the right mindset in order to get there. And that means also knowing how to let go of your emotions that don't serve you, to let go of your feelings of guilt that maybe are tied to this, right? Let go of your guilt, let go of your anger. embody forgiveness for yourself and those who wronged you, so that you can have this fresh start. You can't have that new beginning if you're hanging on to these old energies and ways of thinking, okay? You have to let all of those toxic emotions go so that you can start afresh, so you can be reborn, okay? Because this is what I feel like you're about to go through, a rebirth, okay? So it's really important that you can let go. All right, so I hope that was helpful for you, Libra. I know this is not going to resonate with everyone, but for those who did, do let me know your thoughts in the comments. If you liked it, hit the like, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. So thanks so much for watching, and I look forward to doing your next reading for you.